Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Jordan Connect here, live for episode 50 of Embrace the Chase. And I'm really excited because we have Robert Craig on today, who's the author of The Light Bulb Strategy, which is 7 steps to switch it on and lead a brilliant life. And I'm really excited. You guys are in for a treat for sure. But Robert, is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Well, Jordan, it took me a long time to write the book. It took me about 2 years to write the book. I just found that there was so much content out there in the personal development world that it was really, overwhelming. So I just wanted to package up a little bit differently to make it easy for people to understand.
I love it. I love it. Could you provide us some context, though, and kind of tell us your whole story? What led you to eventually write a book, and then what got you interested in motivational, speaking and authoring to begin with?
Well, I've been a personal development enthusiast for years, and as you can see, I've just got books and books about this stuff. And so I've been studying personal development probably for over 20 years now. And I have 3 boys, and they're 2 of them are adults, and one's in the middle of high school, about to finish high school in a year or 2. And so they're 3 of my best students, whether they like it or not. And so I would do a lot of reading with them and talk about personal development with them. And I think that what really got me was one day I came home and I found on my desk a letter from my 12-year-old. And I got the letter here. It sits in my glass cabinet.
Oh,
so that's the letter. Can I read it to you, Jordan?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to.
So this is a letter. I came home and it was on my desk, and it says, "I'm giving you this $15 gift card to you." And it was a $15 gift card to our local coffee spot because he knows I like coffee. And he said, "So here's a $15 gift card as a token of my gratitude for inspiring me to do great things when it comes to reading, business, strategy, and not giving up. I hope that one day I will inspire you and my children as much as you have inspired me. Thank you for all that you've given me. Sincerely, Nicholas."
Oh,
so
man.
That's what really inspired me to say, this is what an awesome feeling that, I'm making a difference and helping other people. And so I just wanted to expand on that. And so that's really what got me motivated and say, I really, would love to write a book. And so I did go to author school and learn how to write a book. And the gentleman there says, I'm explaining all my concepts about my light bulb strategy. And he says, "Rob, if you write this book, we'll get it published for you." So here it is. It's finally,
I love it.
Front and back, and so it's funny how things when you do things, how other things get attracted into your life. And I don't know if you've ever heard of postulates, Jordan. I don't know if you've ever heard of postulates. It's when you kind of think about something, you throw it out into the universe, and then it comes true. So it could be something like a friend you haven't talked to in a long time, and you say, "Yeah, I haven't talked to Joe for a long time," and then all of a sudden, within a week or so, Joe pops into your life, or you run into him. And it's just something you've thrown out into the universe, and it comes true. And so I've been working on my book, and I thought, one day I was driving my middle son up to meet his girlfriend up at the university, and so I was driving him up, and on the way back, I was listening to a CD interview, and it was an interview. It was Darren Hardy interviewing Jack Canfield. And so, there's a subscription I have to a magazine, Success Magazine. You've probably heard of it.
Yeah.
And that particular edition, so Darren Hardy's interviewing Jack Canfield, and just what a class act, Jack is. And Jack thought, gee, wouldn't it be great to have someone like Jack Canfield provide a testimonial for my book that I'm writing? So then I find out later that Jack Canfield's coming to Toronto, where I'm based here, and he's doing a speech. And so I bought my VIP ticket, and I went to the event and got to meet Jack Canfield. And so I sat down, and I'd gone out and I bought a book, The Success Principles, and had this book, and I sat down with him. I had him autographing it for me, signing it for me. And I said, "Hey, Jack, I'm writing a personal development book, and I was wondering if you could provide a testimonial for my book." And he looks at me and he says, No, sorry, no. I just don't have time, Rob. And of course, he doesn't know me from a hole in the wall, right? So I said, no problem, Jack. In your book, The Success Principles, principle number 17 was ask, ask, ask. So I was asking. And he says, no, I appreciate that, Rob. And so I showed him my book cover, because at the time, my book was in editing and formatting. And I showed him my book cover, and it's the light bulb strategy, 7 steps to switch it on and be a brilliant light. And he says, that's very clever. And I said, okay, well, thanks for your time, Jack, and off we went. So later on, I sent him an email, and I sent him a digital copy of my book. And during his presentation, when he was presenting, he was putting a lot of cartoons and animation humor on the screen. So I know that humor is something that was very valuable and important to him. And so I started my email with, "That's a good one, ... And then, my book, chapter 1, is all about changing the light bulb, about what changes you have to do to get onto your path to brilliance. And so, all throughout my book, I'm using light and light bulb analogies, to make the concepts easy to understand. I said, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? Well, just one, but the light bulb has to want to change. And so I put this in my email, and then I explained to Jack, thanks for talking to me, signing my book. And I just wanted to send you a copy of my book. And then I talked about, principle number 17 was ask, ask, ask. But principle number 18 in his book is reject, rejection. And so I said, this is what I'm doing, and I hope you would reconsider. And then he sent me back a testimonial for my book. So I was really, really excited about that. And so can I read the testimonial I got from
Jack?
Yes,
please.
He's for people who don't know him, I think he's the creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series of books. So
big deal.
So he says, so Robert gives you a new light approach to personal development. His creative and unique light bulb strategy blueprint provides the framework to help you plan and lead a brilliant life. So can I show you the blueprint?
Yeah, please.
So I
love this.
Diagram. I don't know how well this is going to show up here, but this is the board. This is the actual blueprint from the book, and it's probably a little bit looks very busy. And but what really I do is we learn better with images and are able to retain information better with images. The whole saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, it really is true. And I read somewhere that we actually process images 60,000 times faster than reading text. So all throughout the book, each step on the light bulb strategy. So this is a standard incandescent light bulb. And so most people, if as part of a workshop or something, if you say, I want you to draw a light bulb as best you can. You'll come up with something like this, and you know the basic parts of a light bulb. And so each part of the light bulb represents the 7 steps of the light bulb strategy. So it's a very visual strategy. So for example, let me just start with number 1, which is the core base. And this is coming through okay?
It is.
Is it backwards or is it okay?
No, it's good. Yeah.
It's good. Okay, it's backwards to me. So it's your core value. So it's represented by the core base of the light bulb, and the core is all represented about your values, your beliefs, your experiences, your passions, your habits, your attitude. So it's your core base. It's who you are, and I think a lot of the beliefs and values that you grow up with, are all taught to you, by your parents, your teachers. It could be people at your church, your ministers, right? All these people are the ones that have influence over you, that have formed these beliefs in your system. Okay, so chapter 1 is all about understanding, your values and your beliefs and habits, and how you can control habits, and we talk about different kind of habits. And just to talk about analogies with in the book, I talk about the dimmer switch. And the dimmer switch is, I think everybody knows what dimmer switch does with a light bulb. If you have high, it's going to provide maximum energy to the light bulb, and it lights up brilliantly. And if you dim that light down low, it will be, it can turn off. And so it really is an analogy with your habits. So if you have what I call positive habits of brilliance, so whatever it is that they're, I'm drinking a lot of water, I'm exercising, I'm eating right. All these things are habits of brilliance. And but if you have your dimmer switch going low and you have what I call negative habits, right? Then that will reduce the light, dim your light, and it could actually burn out your light bulb for good. So that's just a little analogy with light on that.
I like that.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to make the concept really basic and understand. It really is how to be all about brilliant at the basics, I call it. Right?
What are the other 6 ones?
Yeah, so I can go talk about these. So chapter 2 is the outer casing grooves. So it's the grooves on the light bulb, and I just got them here represented by 3 lines, right? And it's all about defining your mission, defining your vision, and defining goals for yourself, okay? And I know I've got 3 distinct lines here, but when you really look at a light bulb, you got the screw cap. It's a screw cap, right? And so what I'm trying to get across here is that you need to define your mission overall, and then you go down one level and define your vision. It could be 1 year, 5 years out, what it is you see yourself doing, and then having goals to work towards your vision and mission. So the concept here of the screw cap is, I always talk about, if you take a light bulb and you put it into a ceiling fixture and it has no grooves, what will happen? Well, it will fall out, right? So it's so important that you have richly defined grooves of your vision, your mission, and all your goals, because they're all intertwined, right? And, that screw base, if you have all those 3 things defined, when life knocks you off course, by having these things defined for you, it will help keep you secure in place.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
Yeah. So that's all about what step 2 is all about, is how to define your mission in life, your vision, and your goals. And so I get into a lot more detail about how do you find out what your mission is in life? Why are you here on this planet? And so, there's some really good tools you can use to help you define that mission. One that I learned was, envision yourself, on your deathbed. It's pretty dramatic, right? But, envision yourself on your deathbed and who's coming around to see you. And, so what are your family members saying to you? What are your friends, your colleagues saying to you? What are they saying to each other about you? So those things that they are saying, and you hear them saying, those things that you hear them saying, want them to say, that's your mission in life. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's all about mission, vision, and goals. And then you get down here to this, the contact tip at the bottom, right? So that's where the light bulb receives all its energy, right? So I've got, the main contact point. So what are your main sources of energy? Well, I call them, it's your why power. So it really is, you define your mission, vision, and your goals, but really to get the energy to that, you really got to understand why you're doing it, right? So what is your why? And it gets back to your values and everything. It's my family, right? So, that's your why. I'm doing all this thing, so to make everything better for my family. So you got why power, and then I call power drivers. And the power drivers are health, okay? So I get into talking a little bit about health. You talk about, I call about sleeping right, okay? So I have a whole section in there called the night light. Eating right's the fridge light. Exercising right is the bike light. So all these things, again, more analogies with light. And then you get into relationships. Well, you talk about your mini lights is your relationship with your children and kids, right? So it's all tied into, so relationships are so key in talking about, the most important thing with relationships is trust, and how to build trust and how important it is to build and maintain trust. And then another power driver is your finances. and having the resources to keep your light bulb burning strongly. So that's what step 3 is all about, Jordan, is getting the energy that you need for your light bulb to keep it powered up and sustain that power.
I like
and
it.
Then you get into, so that's step 3. Step 4 really is this glass support stem, and it's about how do you want to do what you want to do. So it's about creating your plan and getting the support you need. And so getting the support you need is how are you going to do it. So you can't go out and, to be successful, you can't go out and do everything and do it on your own. You're going to need help along the way. So I call them, we'll just put this down for a second. So you got things, I call it your blue lights. Okay. So where do you live, Jordan? What's do you live?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Do you get much snow there?
Right now, yes.
Yeah. So I'm up here in Canada, in Toronto area, so we got lots of snow, right? And so the analogy I use is I talk about blue lights. And so one thing where I see blue lights is on our snow plows here in Canada. I don't know if you get with your snow plows that they use blue lights down there, but so we talk about blue lights, and blue lights are all about the people that are your support systems in your life. And so if you look at, it could be something simple as, the snowplow analogy, just going to get back to that. We were up in Kapuskasing one time. I had taken my son to the hospital because he had an earache infection. And so we took him there, and when we were coming back from the hospital, the roads had been closed because of the snowstorm that had come through. And so we sat and waited. Actually, we were in a local Walmart waiting for the snowplows to come. And so the night sky lit up with all these blue lights as the snowplows came, and were able to plow the road to help us get back to the house. And so the analogy here with the blue lights is that the snowplows will help clear the path for you, but you still need to drive your car. So what the blue lights are, they're helping clear obstacles for you so that you can focus on what it is you need to focus on. And so blue lights could be something as simple as, having a teenager in the neighborhood cut your grass, because, unless you really enjoy cutting your grass, but having someone, cut your grass, those blue lights, could be, so we have investment properties. So it could be having a property manager help you manage your investment property, right? So you don't want to be, handling that all the time. So blue lights is so important to support you so that you can focus on your brilliance, is what I'm trying to say here. So the other thing besides blue lights is having mentors in your life. And I have quite a few mentors in my life. And so I have a section in my book called Book Lights. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to get great mentorship. Just getting behind the eyeballs of some great authors and reading the books and getting all that information is a very inexpensive way. It just takes a little bit of time, but if you enjoy reading, and I love reading, and so the Book Lights is all about getting mentorship through there. But it is also important to coaching, and I've got many coaches in my life as well. And the one story that I love, Jordan, is John Maxwell has in his book the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And he's got the section in there, and it's all about this superintendent that's got a factory shop, and one of his machines breaks down. So he calls in a repair person to come in and fix the machine. So this gentleman shows up, and he's got a little toolbox, and he goes over to the machine that's not working. He puts his toolbox down, and he puts his ear up to the machine. He goes, oh, okay. And then he opens up his toolbox, and he pulls out a little hammer, and he knocks onto the machine, and the machine lights up. It's working again. And the superintendent is just thrilled. He says, thank you so much. Thank you. And so the repair guy puts his hammer away, closes his box, and leaves. So then about a few hours later, the superintendent gets an email invoice from the repair guy, and it's for $1,000. And the superintendent goes ballistic. He says, I'm not paying this invoice until you properly itemize it for me. So a few minutes later, he gets another email. He says, "For knocking on the machine with a hammer, $1. For knowing where to tap, $999. And that's the power of having coaches and mentors in your life, is that they show you where you need to tap. So, yeah.
Huh. I've never heard that before. I really like that analogy.
It's a good story. Yeah,
it's a really good story.
Yeah, so that, Jordan, is all about step 4, is just getting the support you need so that you can be successful. Focusing, so you can focus. I talk about focusing on your brilliance. What is your natural strengths? And, chapter 4 is called How to Build Yourself a Better Light Bulb, right? So how do we evolve and how do we get better and improve ourselves every day? So chapter 4 is that. Then chapter 5 is actually the glass globe itself. And it's all about how do you keep doing what you want to do. And it's all about how to protect your time and protect your environment. So it's all about the time management. So, time is fixed, right? So once you waste time, you can't get it back. You lose some money or whatever, you can make financial resources back. Time is infinite. So it's all about protecting your time and protecting your environment. So it's that glass bubble. You have to protect what we let into our glass bubble, our environment. And we talk about, how we're surrounded by so many media sensations and negative news. And so we really got to protect what we let in. So, that's where we talk about, spending time listening to great audio programs, if you got to commute to work, instead of spending your time listening to news on the radio or bad news about the murder that might have happened or fires that have happened, try and, put on an audio book and fill your brain with the good stuff, right? So that's all about what are you letting into your bubble. And it can also it could also be people as well. Jim Rohn, you've heard of Jim Rohn.
Oh, yeah.
One of the great quotes he has is that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? And so that's what all chapter 5 is all about, is protecting your light bulb, protecting what you've let in. Chapter 6, well, we keep going here, right? Chapter 6 is all about, it's the lead-in wires that go to the filament. And the lead-in wires is all about execution. So all this is, step 1 through 5 is all about planning and getting ready. Step 6 is where the rubber is hitting the road here. This is where you're actually executing your plan and getting things going. So the one wire here represents your personal life. The other wire represents your professional and work life. So we always talk about work-life balance, and if we can get perfect balance, then we can get our filament to glow brilliantly. But the thing is that work-life balance is a myth, right? And so to try that, there's I don't know how many articles you can find about work-life balance, and so I try to modify the conversation a little bit and talk about work-life brilliance. And so, what can you do in terms of some, so I talk about things in my book about, instead of balancing, how do you do that work-life brilliance? And so what do you need to do to execute your plan? And then chapter 7, I'll just wrap it up here with the final chapter is, chapter 7 is the glowing filament. It's reflecting on your brilliance. It's actually the glow, the light that's coming from your light bulb. And so there's different levels, what I call levels of brilliance. And so it could be adding values, significance to being iconic. And so, are you adding value to other people? Are you becoming significant? Are you iconic out there? And it doesn't mean that everybody in the world knows your name. It could be that you're iconic to your child, Then there's, going from being an expert to a genius to being a master in your subject area. And that's where, we're so focused in our society that we need to focus on our weaknesses. We always focus on, told, you should work on your weaknesses. The problem is that we work on our weaknesses and we bring them up to a level of mediocrity. When what we really should be doing is focusing on our strengths and bringing them up to a level of mastery. And so mastery is what you want to strive for. And again, so how do you do that? Well, that's where I talk about, you know, you need to have people like blue lights in your world that you can delegate things that aren't that important, that, you know, that they're brilliant at. What are they brilliant at? That, you know, you need to have these people on your team so that they can help you achieve your mastery in what you want to pursue, right? And that's also about, you know, your goals, your vision, your mission, achieving that, having pleasure to happiness to feeling fulfilled in your life. So these are different levels of brilliance, and this isn't all of them. There's many different levels of brilliance. It could be a level of spirituality you achieve, a level of financial wealth that you want to achieve. So these are all the levels of brilliance. So that's, and then really the last step is it all repeats and comes back down to the core again. So it's a ongoing cycle of continuous and better improvement of yourself, because all these things that you've learned now come back and now form again your experiences back here in your core, and again it keeps going. So that's the light bulb strategy blueprint.
I love it.
And so each chapter in the book goes through in detail how you can achieve the brilliance in each of those areas.
I love it. That's very cool. What got you to come up with that strategy?
Well, it's funny because I mean, I like to use analogies, and because I think that's what really people connect with, and to make things easier to understand. And one of the greatest books out there is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, right? And so I thought, gee, you know, he talks, well, even you got the 7 Habits. I don't know if you're familiar with the book, Jordan, but
yeah.
I mean, I ask people, well, it's one of the most popular personal development books out there. Well, do you know it? You know, the 7 steps. I ask people, and they kind of go, oh. But the one habit that people seem to remember is the 7th habit, and that's to sharpen the saw. And sharpening the saw is an analogy. So, you know, if you're going to go and cut down a big tree, you're better to spend some time in advance sharpening your saw so that you can go and cut it. So it's an analogy with, you know, developing yourself, sharpening your skills, so that you can be more effective. And so that really resonated with me as an analogy. So I thought, well, maybe I can expand on that a little bit. And so I was going through, you know, maybe it's different tools in a toolbox. So, you know, so you got your, you know, sharpen the saw. Well, what could be beyond that? So a hammer, you know, what could a hammer represent? And well, you need to be out there with authority. And I was going through screwdrivers, and I thought, well, what about thinking, and, you know, a light bulb? And I was working with the light bulb, and then I was playing with the light bulb, and I really, you know, I just kept expanding, and everything kind of fell by the wayside. I was really focusing on this light bulb, and, you know, the light bulb is an analogy with idea thinking. You know, always you see pictures of people with light bulbs over their heads, and so I kind of went and played with that, and, you know, I've got this drawing of my blueprint in rough draft mode. I must have, you know, hundreds of sheets of, you know, trying different combinations of the light bulb to make it work. And this is what I finally landed on to make the blueprint finally, you know, make sense and work. And that's what I went with. And once I had that done, then I really was just filling out the chapters, and you know, it really became fun to come up with all the different, you know, analogies with light, because every section in the book, it deals with light and light analogies, right? So yeah.
I like it.
So that's how it came about, Jordan.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So then, how can people interact with you now? Do you have other upcoming books, other projects? Are you on like a speaking schedule?
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook. So you know, find me Robert Craig on Facebook, and then I do have a professional page as well. And so I'd love you to, you know, like it and subscribe to my page. I try and send out daily inspirational stuff about the light bulb strategy. I am working on, I just finished not long ago an e-course, which is a visual journey of the light bulb strategy. So each section, so I've got 7 modules, and they're about a 25 to 30 minute video that I've created detailing a very visual journey of the light bulb strategy, going through the detailing the 7 steps So that's just come out, and I've got that on the Teachable platform.
Awesome.
So I'm just going to be promoting that. I'm just going to be starting to do webinars as well. And so I'm really excited about that. So I'll be posting that on Facebook as well, some of the upcoming webinars that I'll be looking to do. And I'm always looking to do more speaking engagements out there. I'd love to get up and speak. And I'm also looking at doing some coaching. So I'll be putting some stuff out on Facebook about how you can get a hold of me if you're interested in doing some coaching and how to learn to become a light bulb strategist yourself.
That's awesome. I like that. Well, we're going to be having an event out here in Cincinnati, excuse me, in July. So we'll have to talk further. We'd love to have you on the stage.
Sounds good, Jordan. Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you the last question I ask everybody on the show, and that is there anything that's on your heart or on your mind right now that you want people to know about? And this can be about you, a specific cause, or anything.
Yeah. Well, I think, when you look at it there, you always talk about it. You always see about how people are so successful or doing so well. And I think you got to understand that, success is a journey. It's not a destination. And I think people got to really understand that in order to be successful, you have to experience failure and embrace failure and understand that failure is part of the process to get to success. I always, the other thing I talk about is Thomas Edison, when he invented the light bulb, right? He went through many, failures to get that light bulb to work. And, when he was, once asked about all these failures, he says, no, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. And, Thomas Edison, people don't know that he had a cement company. And he actually built houses out of cement, Jordan. And even the furniture in these houses were built out of cement. But it was a dismal failure for Thomas Edison. But a lot of people don't know that he had one. So, I think that's one of the most important things is I have a nice little picture of failure leads to brilliance. And so I think it's really important that people understand that, if you're feeling a little bit down, a little bit of failure, that's okay, as long as you learn about it and pull yourself up and get back on the horse, as they say, and keep going forward and just keep plugging forward.
That's so true. That's such wise advice. Thank you, Robert, so much for being on. Guys, for those of you that have watched live right now or those of you watching the replay, don't forget down below in the link, please go check out his book. Purchase it, buy it, read it, and then as the e-course comes out, don't hesitate to reach back out to Robert, find out where that link is so that you can join and take a whole interactive play all the way through the entire book, because that may be helpful for a lot of you, because many of us struggle. What is your vision? What is your mission? And sometimes it's very helpful to just have somebody hold your hand, walk you through the whole process so that when it's done, it's a lot easier for you to get there. Kind of like his analogy with the hammer. Yeah, you may know that you need to tap somewhere, but help him find you the way to tap the right spot. But Robert, really appreciate having you on, sir. Thank you so much. We'd love to have you on again in the future, as well as potentially have you out at the Next Wave Entrepreneurship Conference in Cincinnati in July. But is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap the show up?
Well, Jordan, I just really appreciate your time and your listeners' time. And as I was saying to everybody, lead with brilliance.
I love it. See y'all.
Thanks.
All right.